So let's bring in David and welcome the high school coach. This is great. David, congratulations, first of all. And it's pretty wild, too. The number 1 pick in the overall draft, Tyrese Spicer, is also from Lipscomb University. So I'm going to suggest that there might be a lot of people across the country that don't know Lipscomb. They certainly don't know Grace Christian, but here New York City fans are anxious maybe to hear the story of Malachi a little bit from somebody who has spent so much time with him. But thank you so much. How you doing?
Good, Glenn. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here today and just speak about Malachi.
Well, before we get to the on-field, perhaps we can talk about his path to end up in Nashville. From what I read in 2013, he's got 8 brothers and sisters. I think I have that accurate. And they were adopted from an orphanage. And so maybe you can help fill in some of the gaps there and tell us a little bit more about what this has been like for Malachi.
Absolutely. So 2013, Mike and Haley Jones, they made a commitment to adopt. Their heart was on Sierra Leone. I think they'll tell you they never imagined adopting 8 kids. But as they got over there and they met them, they just didn't see a way that they could break up 7 brothers and 1 sister, 8 total. So they made a lifelong commitment to adopt eight kids and bring them home to Franklin, Tennessee. They brought them home in 2013. I got to meet them probably 2014. So I've known Malachi just under 10 years. Amazing story, amazing family. Soccer runs in their blood. They played a lot of soccer over in Sierra Leone in the orphanage. They never played with a ball. They never had cleats. They didn't even wear shoes. Malachi's older brother, Michael, was the first who came over to Grace Christian and played. And after the first practice, he asked if he could play barefoot. He didn't like cleats. They didn't feel comfortable. He couldn't feel the ball.
Wow.
So I said, Mike, we can't do that. We'll get you some cleats, buddy. But the story's amazing. Michael, their older brother, he's really a leader in the family. I think Malachi looks to Michael as not just an older brother, almost like a father figure. And I think a lot of Malachi's on-field success has been created in the backyard with his brothers. I mean, Michael played at a local Division II school here in Nashville, Trevecca. Levi and Malachi both at Lipscomb. They have another brother, Samuel, who played for us at Grace Christian. And then they have younger brothers who are in the academy at Nashville. So if you go to the Jones house, there's some good pickup soccer going on in the backyard for sure.
Well, you hear these stories quite often, David. And again, we're with David DeFatta, the boys coach at Grace Christian School in Franklin, Tennessee, who was a high school coach of Malachi Jones, the number 1 pick for New York City FC, number 8 overall in Tuesday's MLS Super Draft. But the pickup, you're talking about barefoot soccer, not really having a ball. I mean, you immediately think of the favelas in Brazil and the technique that they obtained, Brazilians, and why they're just famous for that, and beach soccer and things like that. So it's really true that they're coming from a background that is that kind of soccer talks about passion to me.
That's right. There's been many arguments and fights in the Jones backyard over pickup soccer. But you talk about the ability to get in the backyard and play with top level players that are your brothers. The creativity that comes from that is just unimaginable. It's not something that you can coach. As these kids are playing, they're trying new things, and it's amazing to watch them just play together. And I think a lot of what Malachi's developed over the past 10 years has been right there in the backyard. Not that he's had amazing coaching at his club, Nashville United Soccer here in Franklin. They've got amazing coaches that have helped develop him, but I think the sibling development has been amazing for those boys.
Well, and truly the really amazing part of this is the family that adopted so many children. Can we go back to that for a moment? That's a special and extraordinary situation.
Absolutely. I mean, what a commitment. Mike and Haley, they had before the adoption, they have Tyler and Tucker, who were their biological sons. They make the commitment to adopt the 8 kids from Sierra Leone, and then they're not here for a year or two, and Haley finds out she's pregnant with little Toby. So for a while they were the Jones dozen walking around Franklin, Tennessee. Now they're the Jones Baker's dozen. They have a big 15-passenger red van. You can see it everywhere they go. But Mike, the father, is an amazing father, hard worker. All those boys and Gabby, the young lady, they're learning work ethic and commitment from Mike. Haley is just the most organized and sweetest and hardest working lady that I know. My wife and I had the opportunity probably in about 2015, before we had our own kids, to watch them for a couple days as Mike and Haley went out of town. And honestly, it was like a vacation for us. We didn't have to do anything. Haley had everything lined out. Everybody had a job. Everybody knew what to do. We were just there to to oversee them, basically taking care of themselves. Just the thing.
Well, and now with 13 children, organization is probably the key word.
Oh, it's got to be. It's got to be. And it's not just that. I mean, they're amazing parents. Their family is very faith-based. The kids are in church every Sunday. They're there on Wednesday nights. Just an amazing family, amazing parents to have. Great people for my wife and I to look at and say, hey, how do we want to raise our family? And you look at what they've produced in their children, and you're going to hear yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Each and every one of them are going to look you in the eye when they talk to you. They're going to stand up and shake your hand. Just good all around kids.
Well, let's talk about Malachi, the person. So he was teammates with Tyrese Spicer, and I'm going to play a clip that I'd like you to hear, David, from Spicer about his Lipscomb teammate, Malachi Jones.
Malachi is a sweet soul, honestly. I can only say good things about him. He's so genuine. He loves to interact with everyone. He always makes everyone feel at home. Like, he always puts in the extra work to get to know you as an individual and get to like show you how much you're loved. Me and Malachi had a really special connection. I think half of the goals I scored out of 14, there were like probably 6 or 7 that was him assisting me. His ability is insane. Like, I haven't seen someone with that kind of 1v1 ability to just change directions in a split second and just like assist me or score. Like, I really love Malachi. He's my brother. Like, if he's watching this, I would just like to tell you, happy for you, bro.
Well, his high school coach is watching it, so you'll have to relay that information to him, David. So a lot there about Malachi the person, but also as the player. So let's touch on both. First, the person.
Yeah, I think Tyrese hit it there. What you're going to find with Malachi is he's going to be an amazing teammate. He doesn't want to just get on the field and play soccer with you. He wants to get to know you. The more he knows you, the more the harder he's going to play for you. The more he wants to love his teammates. And as we look back on his high school career, I mean, his 8th grade year, he scores 24 goals, 9th grade, 26, 10th grade, we're cut short due to COVID. He scores 2. His 11th grade year, he breaks out, scores 45. And then you look at his senior year, he scored 22, and you think, oh, what happened? Well, I mean, he made the decision. He said, hey, I don't know how you coach a kid that good in high school. You just set it up for him and say, Malachi, go do what you want to do. And he took it upon himself. I mean, he led the state in assists that year. He was beating players one-on-one, and he was setting guys up in front of the goal. And we scored the most goals we've ever scored that season, and he only scored 22. He wants others to succeed. So I think what you're going to find with him, he gets in that 18-yard box, he's going to goal one way or another. Either he's going to get an assist or he's going to score. He's just got a nose for it. But what his teammates are going to find is in the locker room, in the training facility, he's going to want to get to know them. He's going to want them to know who he is. I think you're going to find an amazing teammate. He's he's not all about Malachi. He's all about team first. And I think that's something that we were able to help instill in him at Grace Christian. His family has instilled him. His club has instilled in him. Coach Morrow over at Lipscomb has instilled that in him. He's just a great overall teammate.
And his teammate there at Lipscomb, especially, and you mentioned it, but focused on his 1v1 capabilities. So what can we expect? That's a big leap. And MLS this year allowing sophomores and juniors to be drafted for the first time ever. He's coming out as a sophomore from Lipscomb, 20 years old. So what do you think? You've seen a number of their games down the road from you at Lipscomb. So what do you think?
You know, I remember his freshman year at Lipscomb. We went up. They played Louisville in that first game, and I was like, you know, I don't know how this. It's a big leap from high school to college, and I don't know how this is going to go. About 10 minutes in, we're like, man, look at he's beating guys one-on-one all over this field. You know, obviously this is a huge, tremendous leap. But there's one thing I'll tell you about Malachi Jones. I wouldn't bet against him. If I'm putting money on something, I'm putting my money on Malachi, and that's because, you know, he's gonna outwork a lot of people. There's not a harder worker you're gonna find. He's gonna get there in training, and he's gonna get in the system. He's gonna figure out what he needs to do, what Coach Cushing wants from him and needs from him, and he's gonna go to work. So I wouldn't bet against him. You're gonna see with him, flat. I mean, he can fly. The kid, you know, he probably could have won the state track meet in the 100 and 200 yard sprints had he done that his senior any year. But what's more amazing, he doesn't slow down with the ball. I mean, there's a lot of guys around this world who can run, but if you can run with the ball that close to your foot, and Tyrese hit on it, I mean, the guy can turn on a dime. He could be going one way and all of a sudden he's going the next, and you don't know what happened. I've seen him put more guys in the ground just turning around, both in high school and in college. So I think you're going to find a creative player, a fast player, a player who wants to score, a player who wants to get in dangerous positions and just, you know, give his team the best opportunity to win.
Well, New York City is not particularly deep on the left side of their attack. They do have Tyler Magno there, who's the primary left winger. We've seen him at striker as well, but that changed along the course of 2023. So you never know. And I wanted to ask you about his academics. He's an engineering major, which I find fascinating because when I coached collegially, I had a school with engineering, and it was rare to have any student athlete who could do both because of the time commitment academically and the different things you had to do with that sort of program. How does he do it?
Well, he's brilliant. I mean, in high school, I think he had over a 4.3. I mean, he was National Honor Society, just high academic kid. He gets into college. He decides, hey, I'm going to go into engineering. Again, it goes back to that work ethic. There's nothing that he can't accomplish if he sets his mind to it. So he puts a lot of time into his studies. He's got amazing grades. He shows up to class every single day. He shows up to practice every single day. You know, if he's got a test to study for or a project that's due, he's going to get it done. And I think that's what New York's going to find with Malachi is there's nothing that you can put in front of him that he can't work to obtain. And he's going to work just like he did on the field, just like he does in the classroom. But I think that's something that really sets him apart is, you know, you've got a really great player and a high academic kid. You get him in the film room and he's going to study soccer just as hard as he studied engineering. He loves it. So I think it makes him a better player, definitely makes him a better overall person, just the academics that he has.
And he apparently has an option, whether I'm sure the hope is that it works out well at New York City FC with the first team. There's also a New York City FC 2 team. They'll sign contracts of collegiate players in that realm also. But he does have the option to come back and finish his degree as well, apparently.
And I would think that he will. I think, you know, soccer, Malachi looks at soccer as a tool. And at Grace Christian, you know, our school is founded, you know, on our beliefs in Christ, and Malachi is going to look at soccer as a tool, you know, to spread his faith. Soccer is going to end at some point. You know, I hope he has a long, lengthy career and he plays for a long time and he scores a lot of goals. But at some point, it comes to an end for all of us. And I think at that point he'll go back, he'll finish his degree, or he may do it while he's playing. But I think that's important to him. That college degree is something that, being from Sierra Leone, his brother Michael did graduate from college at Trevecca. So Malachi could be the second in his family to graduate college. And what an amazing accomplishment in itself that is.
Well, there is a player on the team, Andres Jason, who was at Yale, and he was taking classes while he was still participating in preseason and during this season. I don't know if Malachi will have that same option, but you think even if New York City FC chooses him for the first team, you think he'd still go back and get his degree?
You'd have to ask him that. I don't know.
Okay. Well, eventually we will ask him that. I probably should have asked you this at the top, but have you talked to him since he was drafted?
We talked a few times yesterday. He's excited. He's thrilled, but the one thing about Malachi is he's not going to get too high and he's not going to get too low. And I think that's what makes him such a good player on the field and a good teammate off the field. He's very steady. His emotions aren't going to get the best of him. But man, he was excited. He had a few friends over at the house yesterday to watch, hopeful that he was going to be drafted. And he's excited, but he's a young 20-year-old kid. He's got great people in his corner to advise him, specifically his parents, Mike and Haley. And he's got a great support system. But he's thrilled. Well,
if he gets an attendance clause in his contract, if the family comes, that'll boost.
That's my girls. The first thing they said is, "Dad, when can we go to New York City?"
That's wonderful. David DeFatta, he is the head boys coach at Grace Christian School in Franklin, Tennessee. Malachi Jones high school coach, where Malachi won the Gatorade Player of the Year for Tennessee and had a great experience there under the guidance of David. David, thank you so much. It was wonderful to learn a little bit more about the young man, and I wish him all the best, and you as well. I know you're the only coach in the history of that boys program, so keep it going, and thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Glenn. We look forward to watching New York this spring.